And this would be the beginning of the conversation. And by the end of the night, the person was a convinced monotheist. He had refuted every position of paganism, and the person was committed. If no guests were coming, that means the pagans who were out there, who normally would come, and every day, I'm not sure how many people who had hosted, and it says, Sora Megayeres Es Hanoshim, Avrohom Megayeres Hanoshim. Sora converted the women to monotheism, and Avrohom converted the men to monotheism. So over here we have two. We have a dual program here, a women's program and a men's program. So here we have the women remain pagans and the men remain pagans. Here God creates a world with a purpose. And what's the purpose? As the Navi says, L'chvodi barosiv, I've created this world for my glory, that mankind should recognize that I am the master, and if they do recognize that, then they merit the ultimate, which is a relationship with me, and yet everybody believes it's something other than that. So therefore, because of the level of Chil Hashem that was continuing, which normally he would have the ability to dispel much of it on an ongoing basis, he was denied this because it was too hot for the wayfarers to walk out. And Avram probably understood that the reason why it was the hottest day since the beginning of existence, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it for him, to provide this respite for him. And he wasn't interested in the respite. It was a question himself, or Chil Hashem, God's glory comes before his comforts, before his recovery. The Midrash tells us something very interesting. It says when he saw the angels, he ran towards them. He was so eager to begin his hospitality and begin engaging in the process of converting them to monotheists. As he ran, because the wound was recent, this was the third day of his circumcision, there were droplets of blood that actually dripped from the wound. And the Midrash says, in the merit of the blood that dripped, we merited the Korban Pesach. That they took the blood in Egypt and they put it on the lintel and the doorpost. And when when Hashem had passed over the homes of the Jews, it says he skipped over their homes, and only the firstborn of the Egyptians died. It was the merit of the blood that dripped from the wound of Avram when he ran towards the angels, thinking they were humans. What exactly is this all about? 1 second. 1 second. That's Dam Pesach, Dam Milah. So what exactly is the measure for measure? In the merit of running and not being concerned for his own welfare, to the degree that the blood dripped from the wound, in the merit of that, we were able to identify ourselves with that blood of the Korban Pesach, which was terminating our relationship with the idolatry, because we mentioned the sheep, the goat, was the deity of Egypt. And therefore, now what was the running? He was eager. He could not wait for the moment to begin the process of conversion to monotheism. These were pagans. When it came to Hashem's glory, his own welfare was not relevant. He didn't even realize. The Gemara tells us a story we had mentioned that Rava was sitting and studying Torah, and he was so immersed in the Torah study that he didn't realize that his heel was on his hand, and it was like pressing, and he was bleeding. So a pagan comes by and he says, "It's unbelievable, you Jews. Nothing has changed. You people are so impulsive and you behave so irrationally that just as at Sinai, your mouth spoke before your ears heard, because he said Nasiv Nishma, not even knowing the extent of the obligation, and you say, we accept unequivocally. Now, how do you accept unequivocally? Maybe you're not able to deal with the level of obligation. So just as then your mouth spoke before your ears heard, identically now, look what kind of behavior is this? You're so immersed in your studies of Torah that you're actually causing yourself to bleed. You're injuring yourself. So Rava answered him, he says, I'll tell you the difference between you and us. You, when the Torah was offered to you people, you asked God, what's it all about? Why did you ask why it's all about? Because you have no trust. You have no trust in God. We have total trust. So if we trust God and we understand if God is offering to us, it's only in our best interest. Why should we ask? What is it all about? Therefore we said, we accept unequivocally. The Torah itself, if God is offering us the Torah, and the Torah has that degree of draw that will get involved, and even this should happen, it's not a problem. Ultimately, it's in our best interest. That's only shows God gives us opportunities to show our dedication to Him, and because of that, we merit many things. Avrohom, when he ran towards the angels, and the blood dripped from his wound, did he realize it was even dripping? He was so immersed in doing the will of God. Of Achnosis Orchim, we say, the Gemara says later, that when God appeared, was speaking to him, he interrupted the conversation. Because Gedola Achnosis Orchim Yosef Kabolos P'tei Ashchina. God values hosting guests more than receiving the divine presence. This is the ultimate. So if this is the ultimate, he was so immersed, he was totally out of touch that he was even bleeding. That was the level of dedication for God's glory. So if that's your dedication for God's glory, to convert pagans to monotheists, what does that blood produce? It gives us the schus, the merit, that we should merit the Paschal Lamb to take its blood, and its blood is a termination of relation with idolatry, and put it on the doorposts, which protects us from the 10th plague, although the Jews were pagans until that moment. That's the meter keneged meter, that's the measure for measure. Because Avrohom was so bent and so fully committed to this, he didn't even realize that he was bleeding. He was pained that he couldn't do hospitality. So God sends 3 angels in human form, and immediately he runs towards them. What's the running? And if it takes a few moments later, you're 99 years old, you just had this surgery, and if you walk a little bit slower, nonchalantly towards them, they see you're an old man. It's not simple, but he runs. What is running always, hurrying and rushing, what does that indicate? That it's something of the utmost importance. That's why he's running towards them, meaning their needs to accommodate whatever that may be is of the utmost importance. That gives special value. Very often when a person is a guest, sometimes he feels maybe he's burdening the host. Just to the contrary here. Avrohom is eager. He made the host feel as if he is actually the master and he is the servant. We see he runs towards them, he hurries and rushes towards them, and the first thing he does, he prostrates himself. What's prostration? Full prostration is a full negation. I am like the dust at your feet. I'm fully equal with the dust. That's the degree of value he gave these 3 guests, not even know who they were. Does that make any sense? We've discussed this in the past. Avrohom Avinu is the ultimate victor. He defeated the 4 kings. Avrohom Avinu. He's wealthy, one of the wealthiest people in the world. He has hospitality at a level nobody could equal. And you go and you prostrate yourself, and we'll see in a moment, and he personally is involved in serving and attending to all their needs. Avrohom had servants. He had slaves. Did he have to be the one? Somebody rings the doorbell, knocks on the door. You have your butler. or your housekeeper opening the door. He'll inform you and you say, come in. No, he personally went. He was waiting, he ran towards them. He hurried, prostrates himself, and he literally begs them to accept his hospitality. It doesn't make any sense. So that he's urging him to accept his hospitality, because the objective is to convert them to monotheism. Because every moment they remain pagans, he's pained for the Chil Hashem. But what's the prostration? What's this all about? But Avram Avinu always understood. He had it clear. He knew exactly. He did not overdo it. He did it himself. He could have delegated through a servant, a slave, did it himself. Why? Why did he do it himself? Now, we once had said that what is a human being is driven by what? We're all driven by our egos. Ego is the driving force in every one of us. We want to have a sense of value, accomplishment, acknowledgement, whatever it may be. I always ask the question, what a parent provides for a child, especially if a parent is a good parent, education, love, material, every conceivable accommodation a responsible parent provides for that child. And a third party provides 1,000th of what the parent provided for the child. The person will be more beholding to the third party than he will be for his parent. Example I always give. Your parent calls you 3 o'clock in the morning. Could you please come over? Is it an emergency? That's the first question he asks. No, it's not, but I miss you. Could you please come over? I want to speak about something important. Dad, Mom, can't wait till tomorrow morning. It really can't. You go, and you realize it's not that important. Next day, next night, same thing happens. Is it emergency? No. But again, you always feel, and eventually you feel put upon. I mean, what your parents have done for you, what do you feel put upon? The same scenario would happen with a third party who hired you and pays you a salary one of a kind. And you're able to do many things because of what he provides. That person calls you. You don't ask him, is it a problem? Yes, Mr. So-and-so. What would you want? Could you please? No, you don't even ask questions. He asks you to come 20 times. If he made a significant difference in your life, you don't feel put upon. Why, your parent, you feel put upon? And the third party, you're eager, or you're not bothered, or you don't feel compromised because what he's asking. Well, he did so much for me. And what about your parent? Did your parent do less? So we made the distinction is this. When a parent does for a child, why does a parent do for his child? Because it's his child. So it's not because the child is special, because the child is special. The child is special because it's the child of the parent. When a third party does something special for a certain person, and he singles him out and treats him more differently than other people, that means I see you as special. When I see you as special, that already touches the ego. The ego is the essence of the person. When I feel that I was quantified because of who I am, that means you've given me everything. And once you feel that you've been valued because of who you are, there's nothing I won't do for you. Therefore, you don't question that. When the parent does for you, it's not because of who you are. It's because you are their child. It's because of who they are. Here, it's because of who you are. Because why did he single you out more than anyone else? Avrohom Avinu understood exactly how to get to a person. I value you for you. Here you have a person declared the Prince of God. The world recognizes him as the ultimate. And this man is prostrating and personally hosting me. Evidently, he sees I'm something special. Because how many people does a person like this prostrate themselves for? And host them at this level? It must be, I'm really special. So you can always ask a question. Maybe he has some kind of ulterior motive. That's the first thing that comes to a person's mind. He wants something from me. He's concerned that I could somehow harm him. Avrohom Avinu, any of these questions could not in any way to a degree even enter a person's mind. Maybe he wants my wealth. Avrohom Avinu had all the wealth in the world. Maybe he needs my protection. a man who defeated the four mightiest kings needs no protection. This man is fearless. So why is he prostrating himself? Why is he accommodating him personally and not having one of his slaves or servants accommodate and host me? And he's with me, hand and foot. Why? Must be, I'm really special. So if he feels that you're valued because of who you are, if now he gets into a dialogue and a discussion and he says, what you think is incorrect, and you're fully open to hear what he has to say. So when he delivers the dialogue and the message of monotheism, the person's fully attentive and he's trusting that this person is telling him the truth. Because since he values him to such a degree, and he's the man of the ultimate accomplishment, he actually goes and he impacts that person's life, that the totality of his being is affected by the hospitality and the conversation between the two of them. Therefore, no person who entered Avrohom's home ever left the pagan, but rather he left as a monotheist.